19th, 2018.
And this is Nerd Bourbon episode 33. I am the Fresh Prince of Podcasting, Seth Sturgill.
Oh, and I'm Todd Sturgill.
Todd, this is a story all about how...
Now, when do you come up with these?
Literally when I hit the record button.
I respect that.
There's almost no planning. God, I think the only time I actually planned it is when I did that DJ Hipster Trash one. That's the only time that it was planned at all.
And that one definitely had a little more thought to it because you kind of went on for like 10 more seconds.
Yeah, longer than 10 more seconds, bro. And then, like, when I was writing the episode description for that one, I went even more ham into that hipster-ass character. It was pretty bad. Anyway, yeah, let's just dive right into it, man. We don't really, it's another hashtag no show notes episode for us, so we're gonna kind of wing it. What have you been up to this week?
Well, not much.
Yeah, that's kind of our thing, like, this week, right? Like, I think we're both just kind of biding time until Monster Hunter comes out.
Yep, that's where I think we're both on the same page like that. Like, video game wise, I've been occasionally playing like Rainbow Six Siege with my friend Ronald. Playing Destiny, like the weekly update shit with you, and that's really about it.
We just kind of jump on Destiny and do our weekly chores. Nothing really fancy to report. I did want to touch on something a little bit that I've talked to you about. And it happens to me every this sounds way more serious than it actually is. Like, I feel like I'm about to like announce that I have cancer or some shit.
Well, I think what you're about to talk about is something that'll like a lot of gamers or people in general go through. So,
well, just every now and then, I would say it's probably happened to me like probably less than 5 times in my life where I'm just like, I just have this sort of funk, like this sort of video game like malaise or funk where I'm just kind of like, nothing's really grabbing me, like nothing's really, I sit there and I try to play all these games like, I've got like Nier and stuff like that, and I sat there and I played Nier for a good like 3, 4, 5 hours, and it just was not grabbing me. And same with Assassin's Creed, which I'm giving a little more time, and like Mad Max, and like I'm enjoying these games. Like yeah, that's when it's bad, is when I go back and download Mad Max, which is like a few years old now, and I was like enjoying it or whatever, but like there's just nothing, I don't know, there's just been nothing that's just really speaking to me. I am giving Assassin's Creed a little bit more of a chance right now because it's just, and I was telling you this, I just feel like that game has so much going on. Like it really just kind of throws you into the deep end with no floaties. And like I'm just kind of like trying to wrap my head around it. Like I keep using this word. I'm just trying to like penetrate Assassin's Creed Origins. Like I'm just trying to like get through it and like kind of like figure out the flow of that game and like what I'm supposed to do and how I'm supposed to do it. And it's like kind of, I don't know, it's been kind of a process for me because there are these moments, like I did that first tomb or whatever. And I'm like, this is great. Like I want this, like I want that, like I want this to be what this game is. And then there are moments where I'm just like running around, like I feel like all I'm doing is just like running around and killing cheetahs and shit or whatever,
I mean, like, yeah, when I was playing through the game, I just kind of handled it as a standard like box checking. Like I kind of just traversed the world and honestly just went from like each like area, like I went to like the like the synchronization points.
Yeah.
Did that, found out where I needed to go, moved into every single location, cleared it. Then if there's that's how I handle it. Just took my time.
And I know it's not the game. I know it's me because like it just I guess I just feel like I'm being overloaded with too much information at once. Like I like it when, especially in open world like box checking kind of games, I like it when those things are introduced slowly rather than just being like, oh hey, like you're just out in fucking Egypt now and there's just a ton of shit on your compass that you can go and do.
I feel like they tried to like give you like a tutorial with Siwa in the beginning.
A little bit, but I mean like
that's what I'm saying. It's a very, very sparse like tutorial. because you get a tomb. They give you this like a synchronization point. They give you like basically everything that is going to be in Egypt. It's not that good of a tutorial, but it's there.
Yeah, I just like I don't know. I said this to you earlier when I was talking about this, but it just seems like I feel like I have this huge plate just piled high with like a delicious meal, and I just don't really know where to start. Like I'm just kind of looking at it, and I'm just kind of like, man, like I really want to eat this, but like I can't. I don't even know where I should put my fork in. Like it
Mm-hmm.
just I don't know. I feel a little fucked up about the whole thing, but I am like enjoying it. Like I actually really like the way the game feels. Like I think the controls are actually really good, the best that the series has ever seen. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Ironically, by dumbing the controls down in a way, like the actual traversal controls are like so much less complicated than they were in past games, and I like that. Like I like that they ripped off Breath of the Wild. You can just straight up climb anything basically, and like I like that the sprint is not like tied down to like a trigger anymore.
Yeah,
Just little stuff like that is nice. The combat I actually like a lot more than I was expecting to. Um,
it's got that hashtag good combat.
Todd, good combat, Sturgill.
You already know. Again, I really enjoy the combat in that game.
It's not like amazing. It's still
It's
pretty
nothing
button
special,
mashy.
but it's
But
it can be. But like, there's a little more thought process to like taking down like the bigger enemies,
well, and I
which
like
you haven't come across yet.
yeah. Well, and I like too that I also like that the more that you kind of go down that like warrior path, the more combat abilities are made available to you.
Oh, that's the main path I went down.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the main path I go down too. I was like, I have like the parry, the shield parry now, and that's been really fun. You know, it's good. Like don't get me wrong, I like it. I'm just trying to figure out how I should tackle it, and I don't know. Just I turn on my Switch. I'll dabble in ukulele for 30 minutes, or I'll do a race in Mario Kart, or I'll sit there and find a couple Koroks in Zelda, and that's like about it. I'm just kind of not like I don't know, just nothing's really jumping out at me. Nothing's really grabbing me right now, and it's a funk that I find myself in very rarely, but it sucks. And so as a result, I've actually been like watching more TV shows with my fiance lately. She's huge into like TV shows. I'm never, you know this about me. I've never been big into watching TV. Like there are certain shows that I really really love and I'm passionate about.
Mm.
But like it's rare that I'll actually sit down and like watch a new show with her. But lately I've just been watching more and more TV because video games have not been speaking to me lately.
Mm.
We watched all of the new season of Black Mirror, which I think I've mentioned before on this podcast. It's fantastic. It's an amazing show. It's one of my favorite shows, and I really need to force you to watch it.
You can try.
Shit, it'll be another Stranger Things situation.
Probably.
Um,
That's honestly the best way to like get me into a show is if you watch it with me.
yes, if I if I persuade you with the promise of podcasting content, that content
Possibly.
carrot on a stick.
We'll do that. We'll do that sweet Black Mirror shots
Yes, that
for
Black
like
Mirror
seasons
shots.
that are like a couple years old now.
Yeah, so that's the new phrase that I've now coined for that process: content on a stick. um, and yeah, like we watched that. We watched the new season of Black Mirror, and we actually started watching this show that's been kind of. It's a Netflix original that they brought over from Britain called. It's called The End of the Fucking World. Have you heard of this?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's been kind of making the rounds. Like people are kind of like, "Oh, this is the next great, Netflix show." Blah blah blah, and it is really good. We're really enjoying it. It's short. I think it's 8 episodes. Each one is like 45 minutes ish long. I think,
Okay.
or maybe even shorter. It might be like 30 minutes long. It's not a super long ordeal, but basically the premise of the show is, and they got this over. It's like a little mini series from Britain that Netflix carried over to the States, and it follows these two kids who are like 17. They're like in high school, and one of them is this guy named James who thinks he's a psychopath because he like growing up he like just doesn't feel anything, like any emotions or anything like that. And like he would do, like when he was a kid, he would like kill animals and shit like that. And there's a scene where he's like 8 years old or something like that, and he like put his hand in a fucking fryer just to like feel something. Like so it steadily progresses to where now he has it in his head where he's like, where's the natural progression? I want to kill a human, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So he meets this girl, Alyssa, who is this teen who has like, you know, troubled home life. It's like strongly implied that like she was molested by like her stepdad and stuff like that. And she's sort of just become this sort of like angsty teen, fuck the world kind of girl. And, you know, she kind of takes him up and kind of like makes him her boyfriend without really his consent. But he's like, all right, this is who I'm going to kill. He's like, I found the person I'm going to kill, and I'm basically going to pretend to be her boyfriend and bide my time until the right time to kill her.
Okay.
Things progress, and it sort of becomes like, it becomes a really kind of interesting, like, Bonnie and Clyde, kind of like modern day Bonnie and Clyde love story with these like teen psychos. And it's actually a really interesting little show, and I'm really enjoying it. And you know, he comes to maybe start to feel something, you know, and maybe he's not actually a psycho, you know, shit like that. So it's a good show. I recommend it. I'm not done with it yet, but I do recommend it. But that's about all. I mean, really, I'm kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel. I haven't really been doing much. I'll tell you this much: we need to fucking get off of our asses and cram this book club book.
Yeah, we every time that we've talked to each other recently, we're just like, holy shit! It's like, well, look at the date. Oh my god, it's halfway through the month, and I haven't read that book.
I feel like this month has just been fucking flying by.
Oh my dude, I swear to God, I feel like the last time I looked at the date, it was like the 5th.
Yeah. Like, that's just getting older, I guess. You just look at the fucking calendar and you're like, oh god, it's like February already.
It's like, where did this week go? It's like, holy shit.
Yeah, like it's been like a really long work week for me, it feels like, and I've like it's been kind of a off week for me in general, but like I feel like it's just gone right past me.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. I'm sorry if this is kind of a weird episode, you guys, but we're kind of in a weird place.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We, you know, an episode's an episode. We're going to produce good content either way. We got some topics prepared for you lovely folks today. Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I will start. So
present your topic.
So it's funny, is this is a topic that I've had in the barrel or whatever for like
months.
Shit. What, like 2-3 months at this point?
Yeah.
Like what? It started out with the whole. I'm gonna make it a little obvious what it's about. It's when the whole like Star Wars Battlefront II fiasco was going on with the microtransactions.
Right.
And I was like, I kind of want to like dive into like how me and you feel about microtransactions and whatnot. And it's just like, then we just did the evergreen episodes, and it's just always whenever we do a topic based, I got one. Right. I'm ready. And as the months have gone on, we're finally here. I can finally do it.
It's funny because like as this show has evolved, and you know we're not even a year into the show yet. We've done a lot. We've produced a fuck ton of content for two people. We've been doing this for like just over 7 months now, and we've never missed a week. We've been doing we work on this shit really hard, but the fact is that like the show's still evolving, right? Like. Mm-hmm. If you go back and listen to the early episodes, even already you can see how the show has like dramatically evolved. And I don't know, it's kind of like it kind of feels like the further we get into it, the more naturalistic we feel sort of behind the mic, and kind of like the more comfortable we feel with Nerd Bourbon as a whole. Like we're kind of moving away from the topics a little bit.
But it's always like kind of like you kind of need an anchor sometimes to kind of like streamline, kind of have a constructed podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Like it is nice to have that structure to lean back on to pull out topics for you guys every now and then, because I do like the topic based structure, but it is feeling like more and more often we've been like steering away from the topic based show, even though I still really like a topic based show. So
yeah,
especially as like more games come out and stuff like that, and more movies come out, like you can expect to see a comfortably shitty mishmash of of podcasting from us, which is kind of like kind of our forte. So anyway,
that's the tagline right there.
anyway, microtransactions, huh?
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to get to, like, because the whole thing with like, how do you personally feel about them? You know,
It depends on the context for me.
yeah, for me, I think I've talked about it many times. Like, for one, I'm a fucking microtransaction fiend.
Yeah, you are. You
You
used
know
to be
this?
really bad about it.
Oh, I'm not as bad. I've gotten better, but I used to be like dropping 20s like nothing.
Dude, and it was over like shitty games too. Like,
Oh, dude, okay. So let's go down the rabbit hole with how bad Todd is with his money. So, Grand Theft Auto 5.
oh, dude, I don't even want to know how many fucking shark cards you bought.
So one Rockstar, they owe me money. I own that game. I basically own that game on everything that is possible to own.
Yeah, I think you
Own it on.
literally have it on every available platform.
Yes. And I played it the most on 360. With it was Tyler and his friends.
Right.
But dude, every time an update happened, instantly dropped like $50.
Jesus.
Sometimes I'd drop an extra 50.
Oh my god. Todd, you
Every
need help.
time an update came out. Every time an update came out.
Jesus,
I wanted to
man.
buy the new shit. I wanted to buy the new shit. I wanted all the new shit. All of it.
So conceivably, you've probably dropped, even aside from the fact that you've spent hundreds of dollars now just on the
I'm
game
gonna be
itself.
real. Close to 1,000.
Oh my god.
That's just GTA.
Right. So
Then there was
the thing that I always think about is that free-to-play game Loadout
Ooh,
that you
yes.
played for all of like
See,
a
Loadout
week.
was bad. Loadout's bad. Loadout was bad, but honestly, Mass Effect 3 was worse.
Oh god.
I did the packs for Mass Effect 3. I actually got a call from my bank because of Mass Effect 3.
Holy shit, are you serious? I didn't know that. What happened? Like they thought it was like potential like fraudulent activity on your
Yeah,
account.
because it was a bunch of like those like I spent like $10 like for like it was like $10, $10, $10, $10,
Holy
$10,
shit,
$10.
dude. What's the like? You gotta show me the good side of this. I feel like in
I
a
had some good
Christmas
shit
Carol.
that I had fun with.
I feel like Ebenezer Scrooge in A Christmas Carol. He's like, is there no good in this future, spirit?
There is no good.
But you've gotten better.
Well,
I mean, you have gotten a lot
I've
better.
gotten way better.
I mean, really, you don't spend money on microtransactions like that much. Really, the things that you're bad about now are the same things that I spend money on in games. So let me back up a second. So, for me, my stance on microtransactions is, as long as it's like aesthetic stuff, I really don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of where I'm at. Like what I was gonna get to, like with like at the end of this is, I am okay with like cosmetic items
Right.
as microtransactions. That's fine with me. I don't care. Like the moment you get into like some game breaking, like you gotta like pay to like for like an actual character, I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I don't even really mind. So that kind of like introduces a fine line of like microtransactions versus DLC. So you brought up Battlefront 2. The way that Battlefront 2 handles this is like, rather than charging for, Darth Vader or whatever, you have to have like 200,000 fucking force crystals, and it's basically impossible to earn that naturally. You have to spend money.
It's gonna be the only game you're playing, and that's not realistic. That's bullshit.
Somebody actually like totaled up the like minimum amount of hours, like versus dollar. You would literally have to play for like thousands of hours.
That's bullshit, dude. Like that's without a doubt. Like so, if you want to play as Darth Vader, arguably the most popular Star Wars character of all time, it's like, hey, pay me money. That's bullshit.
And yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And actually I have an article pulled up here from IGN. This is I want to give credit where it's due. It's Matt Davidson from IGN. Using this formula this guy came up with, it is going to take about 4,528 hours to unlock everything.
Bullshit.
And you'd have to pay for it all in the game's crystals, in the crystal currency in the game. It would cost about $2,100. That's fucking nuts. Now, in response to the backlash the Battlefront had, they did reduce the cost of everything by like 75%, but it's like too little too late, dude.
Yeah, again, that's when I originally wanted to talk about this, it was more relevant, but it's still, I think it is still an important
It is still
thing to talk
relevant
about.
because, microtransactions are an interesting beast because, like
It's kind of like it's in every game basically at this point.
Well,
Just
it
about.
is in a lot of like AAA releases, but like
AAA games.
here's the problem that developers and publishers face is they kind of need microtransactions. Video games are becoming more expensive to make, much more expensive to make, and they're not getting as much money back on them. So if they don't have and they can't up the price of video games because people would get all butthurt about that. If they say that games now on a baseline cost $69.99 as opposed to $59.99 MSRP, people would fucking flip out, right?
Oh, dude, of course.
And so they can't do that, right? And games have to stay the same $60 price tag, or else they're going to lose customers. And, I mean, they're between a rock and a hard place. So their solution is to put these microtransactions in the game and make up some of the profits that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it sucks, but I think there's also a good way to go about it, and I think that is by aesthetic stuff. Because like the games that I will dive into, like I've spent a little money on Destiny, I've spent a lot of money on Overwatch.
I think what is it? What is it? The term, the weekly 40 or whatever the hell.
when Overwatch first came out, we were like really bad about it. Now it's just kind of like, oh, there's a new event, there's some skins that I want. That's all it is skins.
At that point, like whenever there's like some new skins or for an update, we usually jump on. Because me and you are, I think, on Overwatch, we're skin fiends. Like we want the skin. We're really we're. Fiends.
I like those skins, but it's that for me that strikes the right balance of like it's not. There's no like pay to win bullshit. It's just skins. And if you want them, cool. If you don't want them, that's cool too. It's still a great game, just on its base, on its base merit. So, again, it's a double-edged sword, but I think there is a much better way to go about it than games like Battlefront 2. And I don't think they need to be as in your face as like what's really turned me off from playing Shadow of War is the fact that it has some very in your face microtransactions.
Is it really that bad? I actually never really like looked at it.
From what I understand, they're pretty like in your face about the microtransactions. Not like kind of in the same way that Injustice is, where like it's not like you ever necessarily need to buy the loot boxes, but the option is always, it's like an ever present thing. Like
I don't like that.
You have to interact with the loot boxes regardless of the fact that you're buying them or not. And I think that's how it kind of is in Shadow of War. You have to interact with them even if you're never planning on buying one, And
that's I'm not a big fan of that.
That's like that honestly, and that's it's a good example. Like that turns me off from playing the game altogether, And it's like actually refreshing when you play a game that doesn't have microtransactions these days.
That's some real shit because it's so rare nowadays to play one like that.
And like I said, it's a definitely a complicated beast, man. Because like they don't have very many options to actually turn profit. I mean, there are games there are games that kind of rise above that, but I mean it's a rarity. And really, I think the only real solution to this would be for the games industry to finally move to all digital. Because at that point, digital games could be charged cheaper and more people would buy them, and they wouldn't have to shoehorn in microtransactions because they wouldn't be a big reason why publishers don't take as much of a profit is because they also have to pay, the GameStops and the Walmarts of the world to carry the physical games. So they're not going to have to pay any publisher if they just throw their shit up on digital storefronts. And they're also not going to have to pay to print discs and manuals and cases and stuff like that. So, and pay for shipping costs. I mean, it would be so much better for the publishers and the consumers if we embraced the digital age of games.
I personally don't. I know that it is coming. Like just to say fuck the actual discs and go full digital.
Right.
But I still think it's gonna take about like 5 to 6 years.
I think it's going to take longer than that. I think
You think?
yeah, I would be very shocked if and you know what it's going to take? It's going to take somebody with the balls to just do it. A big name to just do it. If Activision came out and said, "Hey, this year's Call of Duty is digital only." You know what I mean? And guess what? It's digital only and it's $40 instead of $60.
I'll be fucking real. If Activision charged only $40 for a game, I'd be amazed.
That is the sort of action that would need to be taken. I'm not saying that every game would come out at $40, but I think that you could literally cut $10 off of the price of games, or keep them at the same price and actually turn a fucking profit for once. You know, and for them to be on a digital storefront. I mean, it makes no sense that these games are not. It makes no sense that we haven't embraced it more than we have.
I'm more or less. I'm full digital for the most part.
I'm not full digital. There's some games like I do have a little bit of like, I used to be like full physical. Like, 5 years ago, I would have told you like, oh hell no, I'm always gonna be physical. Fuck, I want it on my shelf. But I'm becoming more and more of a digital media guy. Just because they're just things. Like I don't need to see them on my shelf. There are certain games that I do still want to have physically, just because like we have Dark Souls remastered coming out in May. I want to have the full Dark Souls trilogy on my shelf, almost like a collection of books of like a series that I love.
Yeah, I can respect that, like as a collection sort of thing.
Right, but other than that, I don't really give a fuck. Like Monster Hunter, which we're both really looking forward to, I have that digitally bought and paid for, and all of my Switch games are digital. All of my 3DS games are digital. I mean, I'm moving way more towards the digital media space. And I think the sooner that the industry embraces it, the better. And I think that I think that when we finally get to a place where we embrace digital media more than we are, I think that's when we're finally going to see microtransactions sort of weaned out. Because, these publishers and these developers, they don't really have much of a choice. I literally have no idea what else they could do other than raising the price to make more money off of these games. Because games literally, you look at, there are series that, like Dead Space, for example. I think it was Dead Space 3 sold something like 4 million copies and was considered a failure. You know what I mean? Like it had to sell an extraordinary amount of copies just to break even. And I mean, it's because these games are so fucking expensive to make now. It's no joke, man. And it's, it does affect the industry in a significant way. And, I don't know. Microtransactions are an interesting beast, to be sure.
At this point, it's like microtransactions are a necessary evil.
Yeah, and you sort of just have to grin and bear it, honestly.
Yep.
And I mean, really, it's there aren't that many games anymore that don't have them. Sadly, we're just gonna have to deal with it as an industry until we decide to grow up and move on. And you know what? I think it's gonna take two things. I said this earlier. I think it's gonna take a big name to embrace digital. Somebody like an Activision or something like that. But I also think it's going to take, there needs to be internet available in more places. High-speed internet needs to be available in more places, because there are people that I know that I know personally that would be fucked if games went all digital. I mean, internet is not widely available yet. It's in most of the country, but it is not in all of the country. We need to get to the point where it's literally there's 90% nationwide coverage of internet. You know what I mean? Because other countries are pretty well covered, but America, there's still a huge chunk of people who don't have access.
That's crazy to me.
And and that's those are people that would not be serviced by by a digital media thing. But no, I really do think that I do think it's going to be fuck 5 years. I think it's literally probably 10 years out, at least. I think that we're moving more and more towards it, but I think that it's going to take something of a I don't mean to sound so dramatic, but I do think it's going to take something of a revolution to make it actually happen, you know, and to really kill microtransactions.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a very good point.
Anyway, I didn't mean to hijack your topic.
Oh no, I was okay with it. You got into it. Got real deep.
My topic. Speaking of publishers that are pretty good about not putting microtransactions in your face. It's been a little while since I've talked about Nintendo. And
been a little while, my ass.
Come on, when's the last time I talked about Nintendo on this podcast?
Nintendo slides in every episode, no matter what.
It slides in every. Oh God, the sentence I was about to say was so bad. I was about to say it slides in every time I open my mouth.
Oh shit!
It's true, but the last time I had an actual like dedicated Nintendo topic, it's been a little while.
A dedicated Nintendo topic. It has been a while, but it is Nintendo is mentioned.
Nintendo's always mentioned. I'm me, but I want to talk about a few things with Nintendo because, you know, Nintendo is almost through their first year of the Switch. On March 3rd, it'll be a year of Switch, and it's been an enormous success. I don't think anybody can deny that the Switch has just been a fucking meteoric success for Nintendo. It's a excellent system. It is, exactly what Nintendo needed. It has already sold something like 11 million units worldwide. It's literally, if it hasn't done it already, it's going to be eclipsing the Wii U's lifetime sales within its first year very soon, which is nuts.
Damn.
It is actually on pace with the Wii's first year sales. Like, if you remember how fucking crazy the Wii's first year was, the Switch is like just as much. So, like, it's like that. It's that successful. It's actually in 2017, the Switch became the fastest selling console, like home console of all time in its first year. So, I mean, the Switch is a success, and there's no denying that. Now, the first year of the Nintendo Switch was fantastic with all these first-party releases. I mean, Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, these amazing games, right? You know, they did a lot right. They did some wrong. I've talked about that in the past. But, overall, Nintendo did basically everything right in 2017. I think that 2018 is even more crucial. Because the first year, you have everybody in, and you have everybody impressed, and you have Breath of the Wild, and you have Mario. 2018 is going to be, like, the reaction's kind of like, now what? It's important to have an amazing first year like the Switch had, and to get people in the door. But, like, now that people are in the door, you have to have something waiting for them inside.
Mm-hmm.
I think that momentum is going to continue because we had that. Did you watch that Nintendo Direct Mini?
I did not, but you told me a majority of what was going on.
Their strategy is interesting because you sort of get the sense that, like, they're focusing on third parties in a big bad way, and that is so smart because Nintendo's big issue with Wii and Wii U was third party support. Like, people own the consoles to play Mario and Zelda, but it's like, there's not really anything else you can play on it. The Switch has from what I understand, a very developer friendly architecture. And I mean, like, they announced Dark Souls. Like, the whole Dark Souls trilogy is going to be available on Switch. Like, that's huge. Games like Skyrim, Doom, the new Wolfenstein are, like, going to be available on Switch. And I'm not saying that, like, of course they're not going to be up to the same fidelity of, like, Xbox One and PS4. But, like, you could conceivably...
Just the fact that they're on there.
Right. Like, if I only owned a Switch... I wouldn't be missing out on, like, that much. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's huge. And I think that's something that Nintendo is really focusing on because they talked a lot about third parties recently. This is the first, like, Nintendo Direct of 2018, and it's sort of like... It was a mini Direct, and a lot of people think that they're going to have, like, a proper Direct soon. I swear to God, dude, if you dive into the subreddits, like the Nintendo subreddits... Like, the fucking crazy, like, writing on the wall conspiracy theorists are so fucking out there. They're like, after the Nintendo Direct Mini, they're like, okay, this was technically a mini, right? So a full proper Direct has to be coming. In fact, there will be a mini, and in Nintendo Direct history, there's never been a proper Nintendo Direct any more than 20 days away from a mini. So we have to be getting a proper Nintendo Direct within 20 days. It's like, it's bad. So
see, I'm happy I stay away from those routes.
So we're probably going to be getting like a larger Nintendo Direct in February, but like we have a really good idea of Nintendo's first half of the year, which is littered with third-party stuff like Bayonetta and Dark Souls remastered. They're like doing a remaster of The World Ends With You with new content. Hyrule Warriors, indie games like Celeste and Faye, and they're bringing Payday 2 over to it and stuff like that. And then, like, they have these first-party games, not, like, huge AAA. I mean, they are AAA, but they aren't, like, they're kind of like the B tier, like a new Kirby game, which I'm super excited about. Like, that's a day one purchase for me. New Mario Tennis. They're porting over Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, which is, like, one of the best 2D platformers ever made. So they're keeping the momentum going forward, but I want to talk about a little bit. I don't want to spend too much time on this topic because I don't know how much there is to say, but I do want to kind of straighten up our ties and be advice columnists for for Nintendo and give Nintendo some advice. Like, what do you think Nintendo needs to do in 2018 to keep up the Switch's momentum from 2017? Like, what do you want to see from them this year?
You're more of the Nintendo guy.
Oh, I am, but I mean, you own a Switch and stuff like that. I mean, like, what do you feel like you're still missing from your Switch?
I mean, like, if they were, like, trying to bring more people to play it, maybe like, just maybe a more serious, maybe they take their own chance at a battle royale sort of game.
It wouldn't surprise me to see them do that. You know, what would have been awesome as if they incorporated that into Splatoon somehow.
That would be interesting, actually.
Yeah, like if they introduce like a new deal, like a huge DLC offering for Splatoon 2, because they put in new modes to Splatoon 2 all the time. It would be conceivable. Yeah. The thing about it is you would have to make like these huge maps, you know.
Yeah.
So, but
I think that'd be a big thing for Nintendo, because like that is kind of one of the more popular. It's like that sort of game is like really popular right now.
It's a very popular genre. I do think I do agree with you. I want to take it a step further though, piggybacking off of that idea. Like Nintendo, I feel like needs to focus on new IP a little bit, because I do feel like, you know, like they had ARMS, right, which was a moderate success, like, and you and I both like ARMS well enough.
We both like it, but we don't play it.
No, I mean, like, it's a good game though. Like, it's a really strong, like, I'll give them this, like, it's very fun and it's really impressive, like, visually, and like the characters and the way that they have like supported that game with free content updates has been like really impressive for a new IP, and I want to see more stuff like that, because like.
Okay.
The really big, like, Wii U new IP was Splatoon. We got ARMS now. Like, come on, like, keep them coming. Like, I want new Nintendo IP. It's got to be, you know, 2018 has got to be the year that Nintendo puts the fucking Virtual Console on the Switch. Like, it's got to be this year, you know?
I forgot that still wasn't a thing.
It's not. And, like, it has to be 2018. Like, I don't see how you could go, you know, over 2 years of having the Switch without the Virtual Console. I just don't see how you could make that happen. Like, you need it. You know, this year is going to be the year they introduce their online stuff, their paid online service, and we'll see how that works. But and we already know that they have a big, you know, kind of focus on third parties, and that's good. But you know, I also feel like they need to embrace digital media a little bit, in terms of like, there's Hulu on the thing now, but like they still don't have Netflix, they still don't have Twitch, they still don't, no YouTube, not even an internet browser. You know, this is a portable device. Like I want to be able to take my Switch to my parents' house while I'm doing laundry or whatever and watch YouTube on it, or Twitch or whatever the fuck, you know. Like, I want to have Netflix on the thing, you know. Like, people are bringing this on airplanes. You know, don't make me reach into my pocket and pull out my phone rather than pull out my Switch. You know what I mean?
I feel that.
I feel like they need to embrace that a little bit more. I want to see improvements to the video capture technology, which is in the system now. Like, that is a thing. I want to see that. I mean, it would be amazing if they somehow managed to integrate full streaming from the Switch. I mean, that would be amazing.
That'd be fucking crazy.
I mean, that'd be great. I mean, as of right now, you can capture like 30-second clips, but I mean, that would be nuts. But, you know, I also think that 2018 needs a, you know, at least one or two like big releases. Like, you know, we're you know, we kind of know about some big releases, but we the ones that we know about for right now are kind of like B tier releases, like Kirby and Yoshi and stuff like that. I really hope that E3 rolls around and Nintendo just announces like, hey, like we have like all this other big shit that is coming out like this year. And that's just sort of the roadmap that I see for Nintendo. Like, I want 2018, you know, 2018 is going to be a very important year for them. And I want them to keep up the momentum with, you know, a continued focus on third parties. You know, I want them to come out with some new IP. I want that fucking virtual console. I want their online stuff to be good. You know, I want all this stuff. I feel like we need, like, 2018's got to see like a new Animal Crossing. You know what I mean? Like, we need something like that.
That would be big for the Switch. Just a new Animal Crossing.
You know, like, I know they're working on a new Pokemon. Like, I really hope that would be enough for me. If Animal Crossing and Pokemon both came out in 2018, those would be two huge AAA Nintendo franchises on the Switch. That'd be great.
Shit, I think I'd actually jump back into Animal Crossing.
Oh,
after
hell
God knows
yeah,
how long.
dude. Like, I was telling Anastasia, my fiance, I was like, when a new Animal Crossing comes out on Switch, I'm just going to have to buy you a Switch. Like, literally, I'm going to have to buy her one.
It type shit.
Well, yeah, because you know, we're both huge Animal Crossing fans. Like, we each put like 500 plus hours into New Leaf, and we're just not going to be able to share. It's just not going to happen. But, like, you know, I really like the Switch a lot. I think it's a great console, and I love playing my indie games on it and stuff. Like, I love how supportive they are of indie games. And it's my preferred console right now, honestly. And I just want to see it continue to succeed as well as it has. Because as a Nintendo fan, you know, a diehard Nintendo fan, the past few years have been like kind of rough. It's been hard to defend Nintendo through the Wii U's life. But it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to be like flying high with Nintendo again. And I want to continue that. Like, I want 2018 to feel as good as 2017 did. You know. And that's about all I have to say about it. You got any other thoughts before we wrap this up?
Man, I think we are good.
All right. You guys have been listening to Nerd Bourbon. If you had a good time listening to us talk about video games and dirty microtransactions and hopefully good Nintendo vibes in 2018, why don't you go ahead and throw us a follow or a sub on whatever service you're listening to us on. If there's a service we aren't currently on that you want to hear us on, let me know so I can make that happen. If you have any questions, thoughts, comments, or concerns, please let me know. Leave them for me. I will read them and address them on the show. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdbourbon, and we are at nerdbourbon on Twitter. And as I always say, the best and only way, really, that we have to grow is if you tell your friends about us. So if you enjoy us, let people know about it. Thank you guys so much for listening. Get fucking dunked on. Bye.
See ya.